Welcome back. It's 11:49 on Salam Media on our very special podcast on Lent 70. Today we are highlighting the contribution of social services in Lenasia and its history. To welcome our guests now from TIBA is chairperson and one of founding members, Ismail Eshak, and our center manager, Faranaaz Waja. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And just a bit of a correction, the name is Boeti Eshak there, not Ismail Eshak.
All
Ismail
right,
is,
better known as Booty,
yeah,
right?
in
And
fact,
I think,
the first name is Mohammed actually. Mohammed Ismail Eshak is my full name.
all right, thank you for correcting us on that. So, can I address you as Booty throughout
That's
the?
okay.
All right. Yes. So, we was just talking to the Jiswa Institute. Sorry, now is the Johannesburg Indian Social Services, right? And it was just so incredibly heartwarming to see how that particular organization was founded in 1935. I didn't know that until Lenasia was established, and the people with a passion for service continued. And we see in that same vein now. We talk to our very special guest on TIBA. What does TIBA stand for? The acronym stand for?
It's actually an acronym for, if we go back into history, TIBA's history. It, uh, During the apartheid era, it was known as Transvaal Indian Blind Association.
Hmm.
And the acronym then was TIBA. So we kept the name TIBA and we changed over from Indian to a holistic approach. So it's TIBA Services for the Blind.
Right. Oh, I see. Now that's very interesting because I just spoke to Hasina about Chiswa's name changed to Chis, also Indian Social Services. So let's go back to that whole idea of having to formulate these organizations for the Indians in Lenasia at the time. How long ago was this, Buti?
This was way back. In fact, let me go back further. In 1949, so the Transvaal Indian and Colored Blind Association was formed, and it was situated in Coronation next to the then Coronation Hospital, and now it's called the Rahima Musa Children and Mother Hospital. Am I correct?
Right.
Yeah. But then, during the Bosman Commission, which was in 1968, somewhere around about there, they said that in order to derive state subsidies, everything must be on racial lines. And they broke up the Transvaal Indian and Colored Blind Association into the colored sector and an Indian sector. That's where we this formed the Indian sector. Then way back in let me just get that exact date.
Mhm.
In 1973, like an Indian wing of the Blind Association was formed, and it was working on an ad hoc basis from rented premises, and then Transvaal Indian Blind Association, or as it was known then, it was a bigger name, and it was known as the Transvaal Indian Association for the Care of the Visually Impaired. That was
Mhm.
formed in 1977. That was like the
Right.
forerunner to TIBA Services for the Blind.
Right. So, Farnaz, I know that you are with the organization now for the last 20 years, which is, I'm sure you've seen all of the changes happen and the needs change as well for the service that you provide. But would you be able to tell us, the need of the day? Because somehow we seem to skip these, the visually challenged, hearing challenged. We have the MC card by School for the Deaf. I wish I could fit in all of these organizations in the program, but I will make mention of the others as well as we go along. So, how was that gap actually noticed and then filled in the community?
Okay. Jazakallah, Najma. I'm actually with TIBA for 26 years. It's going to be 26
26,
years.
I beg your pardon, right?
Yeah.
We're all part of the furniture here.
Yeah. We're all part of the
Uh-huh.
furniture. So, I think with regard to service delivery, when I started at TIBA, I was just like a graduate out of the university and that kind of thing. And by profession, I'm a social worker. So a very important role of mine was to do needs assessments within the communities in order to establish what what the needs of the community are and what resources would be required. At that point, TIBA was based on Vulture Avenue, and we were operating from a little house, like a three-bedroom house. And and the one thing I established was that you know uh, apart from just persons with visual impairment needing assistance and supportive services, there was a very big need for other persons with other kinds of disabilities, and especially the need for children with disabilities to also be able to access services. And I felt there was a very big gap there. So when I joined the team at TIBA at that point, I already, together with under the mentorship of Mr. Ibrahim Patel, who was the chairman at that time. Um, my thinking was already that we have the capabilities of providing holistic services, and opening our doors to somewhat accommodating people with all disabilities, and not just specialized services for people with visual impairment and blindness. And I think Ms. Patel was the kind of person that allowed you the space to grow. If you could justify what a service would do for a person, Mr. Patel would support you in it. And I think my mindset was from the very beginning when I joined TIBA is that in South Africa, we're a combination of a first world and a third world country. We're not just a first world country. And that if we do have some resources and we can share with other people that are seen as vulnerable, then why not? And I think the thinking had started changing at that point. So even though when I joined TIBA, the focus is very much looking at visual impairment and blindness. Slowly over the years, we started including services to other groups that may be seen as vulnerable. And for me, what was very close to my heart is children with disabilities. And and from the needs assessment, I also realized that many children that had profound disabilities were not even able to access our mainstream schools. And these children were literally just left at home for
Mm,
their parents to take care of. And we know that the same way that the first 7 years for all other children are so important when it comes to all their future learning and development, the
mm,
same applies for children with disabilities. And I think that was something that was very close to my heart. And that was a project that I had started working on, like I think way back in maybe 1999, around the year 2000. And Alhamdulillah, when TIBA moved eventually from Vulture Avenue to our current premises here on Nirvana Drive, we had a bigger space. And, that's when I could
Mm.
really push to somewhat open up an ECD center for children with disabilities. We then opened our doors not only for persons with visual impairment and blindness, but also for any person that may have disabilities or seen as vulnerable and could benefit from an adult protective workshop as well. Yeah.
hmm So the organization being known specifically for assisting visually impaired people, we find that you've now, like you said, it's holistic, it's multidisciplinary, really, that you've introduced this kind of support to the community. Now, after speaking to just two organizations, we see that the people that founded it, the passion that goes behind establishing and then maintaining and sustaining these type of organizations, there's still a gap. There's still so much to be done. Do you see that as a growing need, as it were, because the population has grown, and we see Lenasia was really confined to just an Indian community when we were first moved to Lenasia. What changes have you seen over the years? Question is open to Puti and Faranaaz.
Yes.
Okay. So, I've definitely seen Lenasia is actually, when you look at it from a perspective of social development, Lenasia is seen as an over-serviced area. So, but my understanding is, like you're saying, there's been so much of growth that's taken place in Lenasia. Lenasia has become a city of its own. We
Mhm.
can never say that services are ever enough, because people's needs will, people's needs change. And I think, with regards to that question, that there is a need, and there will be a continued need for us then to also adapt our services that will to continue to be in line with what the needs of the community are. So I think currently our focus is very much on the disability community, and looking at how we can enhance and empower people within that sector. So some of the services that we do in line with that would be our eye clinic. So TIBA, in conjunction with the University of Johannesburg, runs a weekly community eye clinic where we make eye care services available and accessible to all people in the community, irrespective of whether um, from whichever social groups they come from. The only thing is that we'd say we don't take people with medical aid, because our services are especially aimed at those that cannot afford medical aid, that cannot afford eye care services. So I think that is a very, very important project of TIBA, because over the years we have restored the vision of thousands and thousands of people. Together
Wonderful.
with that
I'm very happy.
program, we've got the cataract program, the free cataract program. So TIBA also is in the forefront when it comes to assisting people that are seen as socially vulnerable, and cannot afford cataract surgery, to actually receive free cataract surgeries together with the Amit Katrada Private Hospital.
Mm.
And therefore, in line with service delivery when it comes to persons with disabilities and the restoring of vision, I think that is an integral role that TIBA plays when it comes to, coordinating the cataract surgeries between Amit Katrada Hospital and the patients that we see. And, this is a wonderful opportunity for us to also thank Amit Katrada for their partnership. I think we have a
Thank you.
partnership with them for over 20 years. Our eye clinic's running for 31 years, and we have the partnership with Amit Katrada for the cataracts for over 20 years. That is them giving back to the community.
Wonderful.
So I think, yeah, yeah.
So, what comes together here for me in closing is that Laonesians were, when we talk about the struggle and the resilience, and then eventually, now it's development. And all of this coming together and working um, to support each other in these different roles that you play in terms of service to the community is remarkable, because then it speaks to the vibrancy of this community. So, and also just very quickly, if you can just talk about being Laonesian, what does Land 70 mean to you?
Oh, Lens means a lot to me. I'm a pioneer of Lens. I've been in Lens since 1956.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Uh, and then, Lens is my hometown, put it that way. I wouldn't move out of Lens.
Good. I'm happy to hear
Yeah.
that.
I,
Yeah.
I I think for me as well, Najma, I know I started my grade one in Lenasia, and I was at, we had just moved from the Fitas area and that kind of thing. We're between schools at that time. I was between Pantarosa and the current Al-Aqsa and Extension 5. We were between there, and then eventually sent to Libra Primary, which was in Extension 8, and then moved to Topaz. So I think I'm a Lenzi as well. I've been in Lens since the age of like 7. And,
Right.
Lens is very, very close to my heart. My children are all at university. Everybody's out in the Johannesburg in the north area. But I can't see myself actually moving out of
I've
Lenasia.
seen I've seen Lenasia grow from a veld to a city, put it that way.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Um,
It does warm the hearts of people who've really become despondent about living in Lanesia, but nonetheless, here we are. Thank you so much for your time this morning and sharing the information with us.
Pleasure.
Assalamu alaikum.
Jazakallah for the opportunity.
Jazakallah to you too, and to Salam Media, Najma.
Ameen. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum
All right.
salam.
When we come back after the next ad break, we speak to Riyad Limbada. He is Mulana Limbada from the Crescent of Hope.